I welcome you to Intro to Integrative Theology. I am your host, Bishop Dr. Terry K. Reeves, and today, lecture uh, 9, we're going to deal with the 3 supplemental lectures from this lecture. And so we'll start today with supplemental lecture number 1, and it is entitled Developing a Logical Mind. When we talk about the logic of the mind, or what is the logical processes of the mind, we can only begin to understand logic. Many people will go right to the terminologies of logicians from the philosophical world of man. But everything that man has actually extended from the very essence of the logical mind of God. Remember, logos, the thinker of the thought of thought. Therefore, all logic then was firstly originated in the mind of God. And when I say originated in a lower sense, that lower beings can begin to now understand the context of it. This logic was always a part of the epistemological minciology of God, the knowledgeable mind of God. It was always a part of his omniscience. He has always known, he has always thought logically, and logic is his own. Just as God said through Jesus that when Satan speaks a lie, he speaks of his own. When God speaks, it is perfect, absolute logic. He never brings confusion that when he's seeking to give knowledge that we cannot understand. The only way our understanding lacks is if we choose not to allow him to bring to us the knowledge and the understanding. Therefore, to prepare for a logical mind and to develop a logical mind, one must, first of all, develop the submission to God. So when God speaks, we understand his voice. We understand the course of logical thought that he moves. We understand the context of how knowledge and logic is disseminated within us. And so it brings us to a point where we begin to understand what I call distillation of knowledge. So epistemological distillation then also must be received. It must also be developed by humans, and I believe also angels, preparing their minds to receive an awakening so God can instill this revelatory knowledge within us. He opens the fabrics of our mind, and through his thought processes, through the sovereignty of the very power of his omniscience, he enables our minds to absorb information that brings clarity, logical clarity in everything he seeks to reveal. And sometimes this distillation is an ongoing distillation where we receive one point at a time, one thought at a time. And in receiving the thoughts, these thoughts then begin to grow, they begin to take shape, and they begin to be understandable in the mind of those who have now been blessed to receive this information. And so developing a logical mind is developing an affinity to submit to the distillation of God when he is imparting logical thought. Logical thought then is the logos interacting within our soul. It is the grace of God that now moves upon us to enable our thoughts, our contemplations, and our intelligence to receive that which it could not receive before. And so through the processes of God intertwining and integrating his mind with ours to the degree in which it can be done. Always remember, an infinite mind cannot be compatible to a finite mind. The only way we can even understand the aptitudes and the very knowledge concerning who God is, the very knowledge of his name, the very knowledge of him being eternal, transcendent beyond space and time, non-created, but always eternal. This can only be done as we come to receive God's impartation and manifestation of truth in our hearts. Only God can do this. He must create the simile. He must create the system. He must create the capacity for the human mind to understand him. This is all the time we have. I thank you for joining. This is Integrated Theology, the intro, and this is the first supplemental lecture to Lecture 9. Until next time.